Well, hey, folks, this is Kevin Snyder. I am here with Teresa Gitomer from heyRED Speakers Agency. T for Teresa stands for actually the. So I'm with the Teresa Gitomer. Hey, Teresa. Good to see you today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be with you, Kevin.
Awesome. Privilege. We're going to spend a few moments so the listeners or the viewers of this can really kind of understand what it's like to work with a bureau, a successful bureau like yours, and also just some tips and some insights that you might have for them, depending on where they might be at in their speaking career. So,
Got it.
All right.
Rolling.
Give us a little background. How did you get to where you are? Like, how did you even get to create a speakers agency?
Well, actually, Kevin, it was a little bit on accident. I had run my husband's business, very successful business, for 10 years. Enjoyed it, enjoyed being around that environment. And after we got divorced, I was like, okay, what do I want to do? And kind of took a couple years to decide what that might be, and decided I wanted to get back into the speaking arena. And I started out by representing one speaker, and I liked it. And my thought was never to represent more than one speaker. I never imagined that I would have more than one. And what happened, I kept getting referrals. Speaker number one say, hey, you should work with Teresa. So, okay, great. Speaker number two. And then speaker number two said, you know, I've got this person, you should really work with this person. And finally, about 2 years into it, I had a friend say, you know, you really should have a website. You're really more than just representing one person here. And it actually had never crossed my mind, because I was still in this, I'm going to represent one or two speakers. And at that point, I thought, you know, you're right. And so about 2 years after I started representing one speaker, heyRED Speakers Agency was born. And it's kind of interesting that the heyRED name, because people go, heyRED, is it like hey? And it's like, no, it's heyRED. And what I tell people on the phone when I'm reaching out is it'd make a lot more sense if you met me, because I'm a 6-foot kid, and I wouldn't fit in any undercover type of assignment. So it's memorable, and it serves me well. People, if I'm out and about, I kind of, you know, wear the red shoes and try to be in character to a certain amount. But the other thing is, go ahead. I can see you have a question.
Oh, no. Keep going. You're
good. Okay. The other thing that serves me well is if I would ever down the road decide to get out of the speaking business or the agency, because I love to play the piano, I have other interests, the name heyRED could really go with anything throughout the rest of my life. And so I like it being general in nature, but yet right now having a specific purpose.
I love the fact that you just said that. I know that you play piano. You're a master pianist. And that's
I wouldn't say master. I enjoy it.
Well, you have CDs, yes?
Yes, I do. But for family and friends, they're not like sold in stores. You can't get them on YouTube or Amazon. So let's put that in perspective.
But that's by choice.
Well, and CDs. Yes, you have. And CDs, I've decided, you know, I don't even have a CD player. So you make a CD and you give it to someone, and it's like, oh, great. They've got Sirius XM and Pandora. When are they ever going to use a CD? So I have to grow up. The people that like CDs are the people in the retirement centers that I play for. They're into CDs. They got that.
And you play for retirement centers. I think that's one of the things I think that you and I, we get along so well, because we share passions. We share similar interests outside of speaking. Yes. Behind me is obviously a piano.
Yes.
So I think that's really cool. I think that's something that even I'll say this, you know, for speakers, they really have to have a good match with who represents them.
Yes.
Not just professionally, but also personally, right?
Absolutely. And the cool part for me is I can choose who I want to work with, which is even better. Because I need to really like the speaker, to your point. We have to mesh. There's got to be a meeting of the minds. The philosophy has to be the same. And if not, then it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be uphill battle with whatever we're dealing with. So that's real important. And that was one of the things that attracted me to you as far as representing you as a speaker. We just hit it off immediately.
Yeah, no, we did. So in full disclosure for those watching, yes, Teresa with heyRED Speakers Agency does represent me. And that's one of the reasons I thought this would be of value for people that would, no matter where they're at in their speaking career, to find value in listening to some of the insights that Teresa is going to give us tonight about what she looks for, but also what the event organizers that she hires speakers for at those events, what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, buckle up because you're about to get some insights that most agencies and bureaus aren't going to share with you. And so, Teresa, from your perspective, let's kind of explain or define the difference between a boutique agency, kind of like what you do, and maybe a bureau that's representing hundreds of speakers that they're not even sure how to describe.
Got it. Okay. Good question. Boutique doesn't necessarily mean the number of speakers I'm representing. Right now it's currently 20. That may go up depending on who I run into and the referrals I keep getting. Boutique refers to more the relationship I have with the speakers. Boutique meaning almost all of them I've been to a live presentation. I've had numerous conversations with them. So it's not like I have a big bureau with hundreds, as you said, and if someone wants to book a speaker, I send them a link to 5 different speakers and say, you choose. It's much narrower. So if someone has a topic in mind, I can say, this is the person you need to have, and give my vetting to that meeting planner so they can know that, okay, heyRED recommended this person. And that's the difference, because in the larger bureaus, nothing against them, but they just have so many speakers, they can't possibly have that connection with them. It's just the way it is. It's not a negative, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, interesting. I couldn't tell you how many bureaus I'm even listed on their websites. I think it's very important. I don't want to like cast myself off get on a black box here. But I never had conversations with them. I feel like you and I know each other. I feel like
yes,
for an event planner, it's a high stakes decision for them to select a speaker.
Absolutely. It's a big monetary decision too.
Right. So what are some of the things that you look for before you'd even consider to represent a speaker? Have somebody listed on your website, and for you to be able to put your brand behind, what are some things that you look for that are just minimal?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, they have to be speaking full-time. It's not something that's a side, I do it on the weekends or a couple of nights a week. They've got to be a full-time dedicated speaker. And once that occurs, there are things that they're going to have naturally. They're going to have a dedicated website. Sometimes when people approach me, they don't even have a website. So that's an immediate out. You have to be serious about your business. This is what you're going to do for a living. So a dedicated website, I think one of the most important things outside of the relationship, they have to have an absolutely unbelievable video, because that's my only connection with representing this speaker to someone that has never heard of this speakers. Speakers have the advantage when they're getting referrals, that person has seen them speak and they love them and go, yes, I want Kevin for this. Okay, great. I don't have that advantage in that respect. I may be talking to someone that's never heard of one of my speakers. And so the only thing I have, well, I shouldn't say the only, but one of the biggest things I have, they've got to have a video that really is high quality, talks about what they do, and gives that event planner a taste of what this person is like. Are they excited? Are they low energy? What's their topic? All types of things. So those are minimal. Obviously, I have conversations, usually numerous conversations with a potential speaker. It's just like we talked about earlier. I want to see if we're going to mesh. And I want to see if they're doing it for the right reasons. What are the reasons they're getting into speaking? I can ferret out pretty easily if it's for the money. And if it's for the money, they're going to fail. Some speakers like the idea of, wow, I'd like to get $5,000 for a 45 to 90-minute keynote. That sounds pretty good, because the great speakers make it look so easy. They're on stage and someone is like, wow, I want to do that. But a speaker really has to have a calling for it. They have to have a passion. They want to help. They want to help change someone's life, whether that is going to be educational, inspirational, or entertainment. They have to have a calling and want to do that and want to affect people's lives. It was kind of a long answer to, I even forgot the question, but that was, as I ramble on, folks, for those that haven't met us together, we were laughing about this because we just get wound up, and our phone conversations are usually an hour.
And we talk that much about speaking.
That's right. We talk about sake and drinking wine and your sailboat, your pregnant wife, and
that's right. Well, and by the way, I think I didn't mention this when we first started. Today is Memorial Day. It's
yes.
Monday, May 27th. It's a beautiful day outside. And you and I are talking about speaking when most, or I say this respectfully, but I mean, we're working it right now.
Yes.
I think that's one of the things you mentioned, that not just that you represent speakers that are full-time who are all in, but I think for a speaker to be successful in the speaking business, if you treat it like a hobby, that's probably the income that you're going to attract.
Right.
And if you treat it like a full business, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a full-time speaker yet, because a lot of people, I get it. They're working full-time jobs. They got families to support. It doesn't mean they can't become a speaker. But they're going to have to commit at a different level.
Absolutely. Well, and as a speaker, you're only getting paid when you speak. So you can't economically, you just can't say, I'm going to be a speaker. Okay, I'm going to resign and I'm going to be a speaker. It's going to be a building process. And most people just aren't that talented right out of the chute to just, hey, hang up their shingle, I'm a speaker, and immediately have that financial success. Part of it, as far as what they're looking for.
Right. So let's talk, we could spend days on just what you look for, what tips you give a speaker. Let's focus it now on the ROI, the business side of the house. What are the things that you, from your experience, your extensive experience,
yes.
that event organizers, professional organizers, because you do all sorts of events. What are they expecting? Not what are they looking for, but what are they expecting in a speaker?
They are expecting a professional who will deliver what they are looking for. For instance, if they're looking for someone in sales, I'm not going to recommend someone who is a technology expert. So you have to have the topics that clearly align with what they're looking for. Has to. Because it doesn't matter how great that speaker is. If they haven't met their expectations for what they wanted, then it's all over. So that's number one. Number two, and this is something they don't necessarily say, I want a nice person, but they want someone who's easy to work with. I stay involved probably more than most bureaus as far as going down the path of, okay, I book the speaker, and then, okay, see you later. I'll call you when the event's over and we'll exchange a little thank you card and that's it. As you know, I'm much more involved. I want to kind of know what's going on. I kind of want to be in that process because I am a boutique agency. And I can tell from feedback whether this speaker has been nice or not. Have they been demanding? Did they live up to the expectations? Were they on time? Did they go over their time? Oh my, that's such a negative. We've talked about that before too, because as an event planner, you have a very tight schedule and you're expecting people to start and stop on time. And if a speaker goes over 10 minutes, it can throw off the entire day. So someone, I guess bottom line, that's just going to meet their expectations, that's going to follow through, actually deliver more than what we talked about is going to hit a home run out of the park, high content, something they can take away. And someone that they like, again, don't want to beat that to death, but someone that's nice, not a prima donna, doesn't come in there, guess what, I'm the speaker, and have this arrogance. And I say that because I've been around speakers that, yeah, they're great, but boy, they're really tough to work with. And that gets around as you're only as good as your last speech, last presentation. And if you were a jerk, it gets out there.
Absolutely. Whew. I remember back in my early days when I was bringing speakers on at my college, this is before I was even thinking about becoming a speaker or had the seed of desire. I remember bringing on several speakers, and the ones that I thought were some of the best speakers were the most high maintenance. And guess what? I would never bring them back.
Right.
They were just not fun to work with.
Right.
Even though I felt like they delivered even a good product.
Sure.
So.
No, people like to do business with who they like. And it's important that people like me as I'm out and about networking, because people like to do business with their friends. People, you build that relationship, the friend, the trust. And then, in some cases, they're looking at, $25,000. That's not, that's money. And you're not going to get that from someone just, hey, call up, hey, I need a speaker. Okay, here they are. Okay, fine. Let's sign in the dotted line. It doesn't work that way. It takes time. And that's one of the things, too, that the sales cycle in booking a speaker for an event planner, director of education, can be anywhere from 6 to 18 months. Just because if I happen to call on a director of education, conference chair, whatever their title is, if I've called them and they've just had their big annual conference, it'll be obviously at least another year, unless they have some regional, state, those type of things. But the selling cycle is longer than a lot of the sales.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. I tell folks too that, hey, no matter how great you are, rarely, and by rarely, I mean very, very rarely are they willing to sign and book you the day that they see you speak.
Right.
So how are you on their mind a day later, a week later, 6 months later, 2 years later?
Right. And you do an excellent job as far as follow-up. That's one thing I've noticed about you. You're like my Mr. Social Media guy. I mean, you're everywhere. You're, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on, Instagram, on Pinterest, on YouTube. You're all over. More than any speaker I represent, you're just everywhere. Think on LinkedIn, you can have I know on Facebook, it just says plus 500. So you don't really know if that person has 5,000.
That's LinkedIn, right?
Oh, no, well, I thought LinkedIn, isn't LinkedIn 5,000? I know Facebook is 500. Because what I was doing when I first met you, I thought, okay, I'm going to see who he knows.
That's right.
I was like the LinkedIn stalker. And I was like, I got tired I was like, when is this going to end? It just went on and on and on. I'd never been outmatched. I could always go through and see who they were friends with. And I gave up on you. You just had too many. I couldn't keep up with you. Yeah,
well, that's how we got along so well. Because I think, based on what you've shared with us already in the short time we have, which by the way, this is just part one. So we're gonna do a part two. We need to do a part two. I think people are gonna reply to me, I need more of heyRED.
Good. And you'll tell them how to get more heyRED, won't you?
Absolutely. Actually, tell them what is your website. If they just want to look at some of the speakers that you represent to kind of get a flavor for that. Because there might be meeting planners watching this as well.
That's great. Okay, it's easy. It's www.heyRED and go hey, not like horse hay. heyRED, HEY, the color red, .biz. So www.heyred.biz. If you ever see me out and about, I'm that 6-foot redhead in those red shoes. So you'll know it's me. There'll be no I wonder if that's her. Yes, it is. So just go over and say, wow, I saw you on Zoom and I wanted to meet you. I'll go, yeah, that's Kevin's fantastic. It was his idea. Come on in. Water's fine.
Well, hey, no, thank you for your time. I know we've sprinkled really just a few nuggets, but I think some really good nuggets. People ask me, when people reach out to me about wanting to get into the speaking business, or folks that say, hey, I've been doing this for a little bit, but I've been kind of dabbling in it, and I think I'm ready to take it to the next level. How do I get bureaus to represent me? This is a weekly, if not almost every conversation I have, this comes up. They have this myth or this assumption that a bureau has to represent them, or that, and here's what I say, look, a bureau or an agency is not going to represent you unless you're already speaking.
Correct.
I mean, maybe you might find somebody, but they're probably,
right.
But they're going to be charging you retainers. They're going to be doing things that aren't in your best interest. I mean, you're looking to represent people that, you're going to be helping them do their great business, but it's like, they've got to already be doing it.
Well, they have to be, as a speaker, you have to be your best salesperson. Right. You can't push that off on someone else and have someone be responsible for the growth of your business. I'm not an exclusive agency, and nor do I want to be, because I don't want to have sole responsibility for that speaker being successful. I want them to be successful, and that's probably working with more than just heyRED. So, but as a speaker, you've got to be your best salesperson.